For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, we are live and amplified. So let's get ready to podcast.
Fire it up.
Welcome back to another live and amplified livecast. I'm your host, Tom Quiet, and we are still at Interjam down by the river at the amazing Montbreeze campgrounds. And I'm sitting here with Matt Smith. How's it going today, man?
How's it going, brother, man? Having a good time, listening to good tunes, and it's the best place to be in the world, man.
For sure. You just got done playing a couple hours. I guess it's been a few hours at this point.
Yep. Me and a couple others, we kicked the day off. Started 2:30 today. It was nice little listening room bar scene, and got to do some original tunes, and it was really cool, man.
Yeah, it was a good time to be inside because I stepped outside a few times. I was like, oh yeah, it's oppressively hot out here.
Yeah, but that's the best part about them doing this festival in October down here. I mean, fortunately it's not too hot, but man, it's just right. The weather's always perfect down here.
Right. And so you said you're from Brownwood?
Yes, sir. Brownwood, Texas.
Brownwood, Texas. What was it like growing up there for you?
Well, I didn't grow up there. I originally grew up in a little town called Gorman.
Okay.
And I left there in 2012, and just kind of never really looked back. But I know it's a really small town. It's a town of about I think it's less than 1,000 people at this point. Okay. So life there growing up was, it was pretty small, pretty simple. We did a lot of hanging out, cruising dirt roads, and you just living that small town dream. You got to go to other towns, go grocery shopping, and get all your stuff, and
living that Texas dream, pretty much.
I'm telling you, man.
I feel like that's a common thing in Texas. Is like a lot of small towns. Like a lot of towns, you'll drive right through and miss it.
Oh, for sure. I mean, all there is there is it's right on Highway 6 between De Leon and Eastland, which those are two other really small towns that you really don't know. But there's a blinking light. There used to be a Dairy Queen. It's now closed down and turned into something else. And there's a feed mill. Okay. And that's about it.
So just so I know where it's at, where is it in relations to Waco?
In relation to Waco, pretty much if you leave Waco, you go straight up Highway 6. You up through Meridian, Hyco, all that up to, and it's just keep on going past Dublin.
Okay.
It's.
Oh, so you're going out into legit Central Texas?
Yeah, it's 20 miles south of I-20 on Highway 6.
Gotcha. I drive through that area all the time because I used to live out in New Mexico for a whole bunch of years, and so going through Hyco, Dublin, and all that stuff is like second nature to me. I know where the cops sit. I know.
At one point in time, it was the peanut capital of the world.
Yeah.
We had that was our big deal there was peanuts, and then over the years they kind of burned up the soil and all the plants and everything left about 2004.
Yeah.
And that was the one thing that people would always talk about when they'd come through there, man. Is when you come through, you smell those peanut dryers going, and it's a great smell. It don't smell like that no more.
Right. Oh, so where does music kind of come into play? Is that something that's always been around, or?
Well, I mean, I've always really dug music, and it just goes back to cruising around with my dad back in the day, and going fishing or just going out hunting or doing whatever we were doing. We'd be listening to the Fabulous Thunderbirds, Eric Clapton, Neil Young, Cream. We'd be listening to a whole bunch of different kind of stuff, some Bonnie Raitt, and then as time went on, of course I kind of got into the grunge era, when I was younger, and Nirvana, Soundgarden, and all that, and then slowly started getting introduced to the Texas country scene with like Jason Bowen and the Stragglers, Cross Canadian Ragweed, some Stone LaRue, The Great Divide, Mike McClure Band, Reckless Kelly. Those are all Charlie Robinson. They were all huge influences into kind of what I wanted to do. And when I was 15, I got my mom to buy me my first guitar, and then that's just I thought I just sat down and started watching YouTube videos and picking up things here and there on watching people play, and then just kind of it's kind of flowing into me, and especially once I started getting around other musicians and seeing how this whole community works and how everybody's involved, and it's been really cool, man. It's been really awesome to be a part of it, and especially like getting called out to stuff like this. You know, I mean, it doesn't get any better than this. You know?
For sure. And is this your second year, third year?
This is my third year.
Okay.
I was here for the first year, the inaugural year.
Yeah.
And I wasn't able to come the second year, but I've been here last year and then again this year.
Cool. You brought up Stoney LaRue. I'm really pissed off at myself because right at the beginning of the pandemic, I had gotten an email from his manager, like, because I was doing some heavy promoting for, like, we had just started doing the podcast, like, remote on Zoom and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And his manager ended up in my email box, or press person manager, whatever. And it was like, I guess he had just released some music, and we weren't able to get it booked out. And then people started telling me, wait a minute, you didn't get this booked out, you need to try and reach back out and get that booked, because that would have been a huge interview. Oh yeah, man.
I Stoney's one of those guys. He's I've only got to meet him one time. I had a radio DJ friend in Brownwood years ago when I first lived there, and he told me, he's like, hey man, I got tickets to the show, we're going to have backstage passes, come and hang out. So we come and hang out, and he tells me he's going to do a radio interview with Stoney, and we go try to get back on his bus and do this interview, and Stoney just comes out and he says, man, I don't do that shit. Y'all get on. He just wasn't even having it, but no, man, he is an incredible artist, and has an amazing voice, But he's one of those he's one of those pioneers and people that's been there and helped solidify what is the sound of the the Texas red dirt music.
Yeah, for sure. And so where are you kind of at musically right now? Are you writing, recording, releasing? Where are you kind of at?
Well, I've kind of taken a couple years off on things here about 5 or 6 years ago. I had the band going. We hit the studio and recorded the EP.
Yeah.
And we were really trying to make it into the scene, make a name for ourselves. And life just got in the way, and we kind of had to split off, and everybody had to go do different things. But right now, man, I'm just kind of coming back into and doing some acoustic shows, and we actually have our first full band show in 4 years coming up on November 3rd, which is we've had a couple rehearsals, and it was kind of cool. I got hit up about it. It's going to be at it's up in Mingus, Texas. I don't know if anybody knows where Mingus, Texas is, but they're having their first annual Trash Bash, and Cody Cannon and the Departed is the headliner, and they asked if I could put a band together for the thing. I'm like, well, I'll call the guys and see what's up about it, and of course they were all about it. And but other than that, I've been writing a little bit, but for the most part, I had to take some time and concentrate on real life and take care of myself and get me back to a point where I could
function normally.
Get function normally and just be able to want to get out and do this kind of stuff again. But it's really cool because no matter how much time I take off or anything like that, every time I come back, every time I play a show, whether it's for 3 people or 30 people or 300 people, whether friends, family, strangers, whatever, man, everybody always really enjoys it, and it it helps remind me what us as musicians do for other people. I always forget about that. I get that. You almost get not necessarily a self-centered vibe, but you get you're worried so much about your songs and how you're playing them and what it sounds like, but what it sounds like to other people and what it does for other people is what really matters. And I've been reminded of that a few times here in the last couple weeks, really. And it's been really cool. It's been really cool.
Because I know during your set you mentioned your recently finalized your divorce and all that stuff.
I did that this morning, actually.
Which, I mean...
Well, so I'd been married for 8 years, and we've been separated for 3. So it wasn't just a huge thing. It wasn't just a huge punch to the face or anything. It was just something that needed to happen for a long time, and finally did it. And fortunately, I mean, we're still cool with each other. We can actually. Well, that's what we said today. Well, hey, maybe now we can actually be friends again. So, but it's different. It's different.
Yeah. now that we got lawyers out of our lives, let's.
Oh man, no, we did all that non-contested. We did that clean and easy.
Yeah, for sure.
Clean and easy.
But what I really like about like what you have going on is like I sit here and I like to people watch, which sounds really freaking creepy.
Oh, dude, I do the same thing.
But like seeing how you interact with like Nathan and Tyler and like all these people that are just kind of here in the buddy camaraderie that you guys got going on. It seems like you got a good group that just kind of
man, and that's what I was saying a while ago, man. That's what I love about music. For more than anything is me and Chris, the drummer from Ghost Dance Band, were talking about that. We were sitting down on the steps down the river earlier, and you know, you meet these people and you have no idea who they are, what they've been through, anything like that. But like, there's just something about like you have that common denominator. And when you meet these people, it's like, I mean, you're instantly family, you know. I mean, aside from a few bad apples here and there, but even then, you know, we all support each other, we all love each other, and we just want to see everybody do good and be good. And everybody has their own style, everybody has their own way, and has their own little things that they do, and we all love it. We all love each other, and we support each other, man. That's, you know. Whether it's just a shout out on Facebook or Instagram or anything like that, or just, I mean, showing up 30 minutes into their last set, you know, at a show, just so you can give some horns out there and then make it happen, you know.
That's really cool, and I really do dig that, and the fact that, like, so I've been in Texas now for 4 years, and you know, I try and get out to shows. It's not always easy because like doing the podcast and all that stuff. It's like I got to go when they can go, so. Trying to get out to shows or driving 3 hours to a show when I have a 7 o'clock podcast, but the show starts at 9. It's like, okay, that really limits my my opportunities to go places. But you know, just kind of being here last year and getting to meet the people that I did, and then meeting everybody that I did here, it's like, okay, well, Denton ain't that far, you know, Brownwood ain't that, you know, and just kind of like.
Oh yeah, man, and it's that. I mean, Texas is huge, obviously. But man, no, it's and that's what I really love about this festival is it is the biggest opportunity for all of us. I mean, a lot of us know each other, but a lot of us don't even know each other. You know, like Miss Anna Lemaire here. Met her for the first time. She's amazing. And you know, you meet so many amazing people down here, and it's just it's really the best place to come and just hang out and relax and watch good music, play good music, and just man, get back to your roots. You can unwind, you can reset, and just and I got, man, Dustin Brown, man, he puts on a hell of a festival. He puts on a hell of a festival for sure.
I called him the Godfather earlier. I don't know how he received that. I don't know if he liked it. I was like, well, I'd call you El Presidente, but I feel like that one's already taken.
See, and I met Dustin around the same time that I met Ghost Dance Band.
Okay.
I was living in Gatesville at the time, and Ghost Dance Band came to this place, the Bare Bones Barbecue, and I was kind of the in-house sound guy at the time. And I'd ran sound for them one time, and then they came back again. They had this guy Dustin Brown who was the opener, and man, I was just instantly blown away by like his songs and the way he sings and his voice and his just overall demeanor. And man, it was another one of those like you meet, and it's just like, man, you're just instantly there. You're instantly friends, and it's been that way ever since. You know, he always throws out the invite for me to come down here. I don't know why, you know, because there are I mean, thousands and thousands of musicians that probably deserve to be here more than I do, but I'm very grateful that he does, and it's just this is my favorite thing to do every year. I don't make any other plans. What's up, dog?
Oh, we got all kinds of dogs hanging out with us. No, I definitely 100% agree with you. Like, even if we don't know specifically like what the date is, I know it's in October. I know it's going to be the second, third, or fourth week in October.
Yes,
so
sir.
It's like, all right, I'm going to just circle these 3 weeks and just put random PTO days in, or like whatever for work, and just like, okay, I am off one of these weeks. Like,
oh no, I think I put in for vacation on this in like April or May. As soon as I found the dates out, and I went and wrote them on the calendar. And even still, the week or two leading up into this, and they're, well, we got all this stuff going on. Like, nope, I'm not going to be here. Like, y'all got to figure this out on your own.
I had a very similar situation. So I work for a TV station, and a couple of weeks ago, they're like, hey, we got to teach all the news reporters how to use this new editing software. We need as much help as we get. I'm like, you see these days, and you see how that says Tom off?
I'm out.
I'm gone. And she was like, or my boss came to me, she was like, can you edit on Final? Or it was a video editing software called Final Cut, and I was like, I was trained on Final Cut. Give me 30 minutes and probably a shot of whiskey, and I'll figure it out.
It'll be all right. It'll be all right.
But we got there. So you're kind of getting back into the scene. You mentioned you're kind of getting back
man. I went through a pretty rough time of life a couple years ago. To just be perfectly honest, I'm a recovered meth addict. Been off it for 2 years in September.
Congratulations.
And that really had a factor on a lot of things as far as what I was doing in music, and as far as just like rebuilding myself and relearning how to get back out in the real world and interact and mingle with people without having that aspect in life. It's been, and I just really kind of just threw myself, and I'm a welder, so I threw myself into real world work and just kept grinding, and I worked 6 days a week most of the time. And really, like here in the last couple months, they kind of started cutting our overtime back, and I was like, well, I kind of need to supplement that income a little bit, but at the same time, it's giving me more time and the opportunity to get out. And because people still call me and want me to come play, and I really do like to get out and play or do sound gigs or whatever I can get out and do, as long as it's involved in music. I've always loved doing it. But I don't know. I don't know. I wouldn't say that I'm making like just a major push to try to try to get out there and make the big bucks or anything like that. But I really am enjoying getting back out like I am and doing the weekend thing and going out playing 2 or 3 shows and
coming back
four or 5 shows a month, whatever I can do, and it's been really cool, man. It's
it's not, it's one of those things where it's like you're at a weird point in your life where it's like you got to make the money because you got to pay the bills, but you have this passion over here that you really want to follow, and unless you're really willing to risk like everything and go, just to go full time, it's like it's a real conversation you got to have.
Yeah, and I at one point in time I was doing music full time. It was right after I'd first gotten married, and I moved from Gatesville and moved down to Bernie, just on the northwest side of San Antonio. And my ex-wife was she was a funeral home director. Okay. So she was making decent enough money to pay all the bills. We lived on the funeral home property or whatever, which was kind of creepy, but you gotta take tick for tack, I guess. And so it started out with me running open mic nights just around Bernie, around San Antonio, and then I started branching out 2 or 3 days a week. I'd hit Austin one night, and then I'd hit Johnson City, Marble Falls the next night, and then I got to where, okay, well, if we're going to do this, let's plan it out. Let's map it out better. And I would make my early weekend gigs as far north as I could. And then that way, if I had to crash in a parking lot or get a hotel room or find a friend's house to stay at, I could. And then just start slowly working my way back. But even then, you get to where you're coming in every Sunday at 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, and after running 600 to 800 miles or more in a weekend, it got to be a little much. It got to be a little much, and I got burnt out. And I lost my passion for it, and that's not something I want to do. It's like people talk about, like, I don't see how you get on stage in front of these people and play this stuff. You need to get a TikTok. I'm like, I hate social media. I do, and I know it's like the thing to do now, but it's just one of those things. Like I feel it takes away from people's realness, in my own opinion. That's just me talking. Sure. And I told him, I was like, man, I can get up in front of 3 people. I can get up in front of 300,000 people. I drop that first note, I'm alive. Like that's that. And if I ever lose that, like if I lose that tingle, if I lose that sensation, then what's the point of playing music anymore?
For sure. It's interesting. You kind of brought this up earlier, and it's something that I think about all the time. Like musicians, they're putting themselves in such a vulnerable spot all the time. Like singing some of these personal songs and having to put themselves back in this moment of like real sadness or like like whatever the moment is for the song. And then, like you mentioned, getting in the car and then driving 600 miles by yourself after you just went through this emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised every musician isn't like a raging alcoholic or something.
Well, I mean, everybody's got their vice of some sort, but I don't know. That's kind of I guess that's kind of a touchy subject with a lot of people because I mean, it does run rampant. I mean, most musicians. I mean, you look at Jason Isbell. He's one of the greatest musicians and songwriters of all time, and he's got I think almost 15 years sober at the moment. But I mean, he was just a raging coke addict and alcoholic, and he was a partier back in the day when he was with drive-by truckers, and now you look at him and he's he's able to do it without any of that aspect. He's able to put that out just strictly through the music part.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think that's what we do. I played the original song earlier called Failure. Yeah. And it's not one that I play live a lot just because it gets kind of a weird response. It's a song that I put a whole lot of myself into it. It's a very true, very real story, and I mean it deals with addiction and depression and thoughts of suicide and things that subjects that are kind of touchy with people. So I don't really play it a whole lot, but earlier here today here in the bar, man, it just seemed like a really receptive room, a really good listening room, and I felt it was a good time to play it. And I mean, I honestly, I love playing that song because I hope that someday somebody can hear that song and I mean, realize that it's not. Even though you may think you're a failure, you may think that your life is down and out and everything's just so bad that, I mean, there is an end to it. I mean, all you got to do is work for it and get your mind right.
Yeah, that's for sure.
That's really hard to do sometimes. Like I said, I mean, I've taken a break from music and just going out and doing a whole lot of things in general just so I can get myself back to square and
for sure
and be able to come out and enjoy things like this.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's definitely one of those things where every once in a while you've got to kind of put yourself back at square one and just remember why you fell in love with it in the first place.
Yeah, which back when I first started playing music, it was that's what it was about the drinking, about the partying, cruising dirt roads with your buddies, and as I got older and as I got more mature and time went on, I started listening to some of these other artists that weren't just they weren't just doing that. They were writing about life and about things that touched you deep in your soul, And I'm like, man, that's it. That's what I'm more about, And a lot of the stuff I listen to now, man, you'll never hear on mainstream radio, and it's sad, really, because it's some of the best music out there. Hey, Tyler.
That's one thing I love about this festival is just because we're sitting right next to this door and watching people get tripped out because the door sticks all the time.
I know, man. I've watched probably 15 different people that go try to open it and they're like, oh, it doesn't. You just pull that dang thing, man. It'll open up.
And I'm like, I'll reach over. No, I'm not reaching over. Sorry, it ain't happening. But
yeah, if y'all can't figure it out, yon.
Yep. But I really appreciate you taking the time to sit down and chat with me.
Absolutely, man. This has been great.
Anybody wants to check out anything you got, any music that might be out there, any upcoming shows?
I don't have any music online at the moment, or on Spotify or anything. I'm working on doing some studio time in the next couple months. Gonna try to record a couple singles, release a couple singles.
Nice.
But other than that, man, you can follow me on Facebook. It's Matt Smith Music, and that's really about all I do. I'm working on getting my social media stuff more updated, but
it seems like you just need to pay. It's getting to that point where
you just need to pay somebody to do it. Just pay somebody to take care of it.
It's like I was sitting here thinking about it. I was like, because I'm like, the whole thought process is if I get enough interviews here, like I'm going to take the rest of the year off.
Yeah.
Because like as much as this is like a recharge for me, it's also very exhausting because it's like 4 or 5 days, go, and then I got to drive out to New Mexico after this, and so it's just like if I could take a break, I was thinking about it. I was like, I wonder if I could pay somebody to run my social till like the end of January and just give them everything I've produced.
Yeah, here, you put this on, put it out there, and then we'll be
Aces.
good.
Yeah. But really appreciate you taking the time to sit down and chat.
Hell yeah,
and then
man.
just for shits and giggles, what's the most random cover song you know?
Most random cover song I know.
Or that you perform, I guess is a better way to.
Tribute by Tenacious D.
Okay, that's a good one.
That's one. I don't do it a whole lot, but I have a certain group of people that if I'm around them, then I gotta play it. Other than that, Semi Charm Kind of Life with Third Eye Blind.
Okay, that's a good one too. Cool. But Matt, really appreciate you taking the time to sit down and chat.
Hell
really
yeah, man.
appreciate you.
It's
And
a good time.
we will see you all later.
All right, man. Y'all take it easy.
Yep.